from everybody else.
My deep ball, it has a little secret sauce to it, man.
Never get too high, never get too low, but just keep moving.
The whole story is Carlos never beat me in any kind of sports in high school.
Welcome to the Orange is the New Black podcast. I'm your host, Ace, joined by my co-host, Zim. Zim, say what's up.
Hey! I didn't know what I was like, let me switch it up, but then I just was like, nah, I'm just silly. Hello, world. How's everybody going? How's everybody doing this evening? Thank you guys for rocking with us. This is the Orange is the New Black podcast, and we are here to give you some camp stuff. Ace, what are we talking about today?
Man, we gotta get into it. Initially, we haven't had a show in a while. Thank you guys for supporting Zim and thank you, Zim, for holding it down while I was on vacay. We've talked about some training camp stuff, but now that we're really into the thick of things before this preseason game against the Buccaneers, let's talk about who's on the bubble. So for me, I think one of the players that's on the bubble is a former guest of the show. Renell Wren, for me, is a guy I feel like is on the bubble for this roster. If I had to think of some other players, I would probably say my other guy, Jaquez Patrick. I think he's on the bubble. Trevion Williams, but I don't want to give too many of them away. Who are some of the players that you have on the bubble for this Bengals team?
For me, you hit that on the nail with Jaquez Patrick is somebody that I was looking at. Puka Williams is a person right now where I know he's a fan favorite. Puka is not even practicing with the running backs. All of his reps are with the wide receivers, but the last couple of days he had some kind of knee or leg injury, so he's been iced up. Who else was I thinking? We went through. You said Fred Johnson is. You said
no. I didn't say Fred Johnson. That's a good one too.
I'm sorry, Renell Wren. Fred Johnson, I feel like is pretty safe as a swing tackle, just because there isn't that much depth at the tackle position. Xavier Su'a-Filo is a guy that if he doesn't crack the starting lineup, I just can't see them paying that amount of money for a starting. For a backup guard. I just can't see it at $4 million per. So that might be like a cap casualty / cut. The other guy that I was thinking about was Marcus Bailey. Was really, really strong at the beginning of camp. He kind of had an injury at some point, but he had flashed throughout all of camp. I don't think he will be a cut, but they might try to figure out something creative to try to hold him on the roster or something like that if he's still sitting out. I don't know if he practiced today, but I know the last couple ones he didn't. I think I just jumped the gun just talking about Fred Johnson because he was nursing a quad injury, but he came back yesterday for the first time. So I think that's why I just splurted that out. There's a bunch of defensive linemen guys that I think Freedom.
Yeah, Freedom. I'm sorry, Freedom. I don't know how good it's looking.
Right, that's on the bubble. I'm gonna tell you another guy, Trayvon Henderson. With Ricardo Allen getting a lot of reps, him getting high praise. We saw the last depth chart, and it had him on there. It had him not on there because of Ricardo Allen. And then Phillips was the guy that was now further down on the depth chart in favor of Eli Apple. But he wouldn't be a casualty. He wouldn't get cut because of his special teams. So that's
right.
Thing.
You got Brandon Wilson, Kayvon. The safety one is going to be interesting because they have, like you said, a couple of safeties out there.
They really like Ricardo Allen. They really do. So I just think Trayvon Henderson is a guy that always does really good at camp. The athleticism is there. There's another safety. I'm going to get back to y'all in a couple minutes, though, that I keep on hearing a lot of questions about. He's flashed a couple times. He even had 2 picks on one day. I'm going to get back to you on that.
Is it the Dolphins dude?
He came from the Dolphins, right?
I think it's Kayvon. That's who I was talking about. I think his first name is Kayvon or something like
Kayvon.
that.
All right. So, that will be another person like that, unless he can figure out a way to get involved with special teams or something. The numbers just don't – I can't see them carrying more than 8.
Right.
So we know the first 4.
Right.
Trey, Waynes, you go across and we know our 4. So
facts. Before I move on, I want to get into some of the super chats. We appreciate y'all. Super chats are open if you're watching me or Zim's channel. Super chats are available. Want to give a shout out to my man Eric Ryan. I think that you just showing us some love. So who they, bro? I see that you put this up, so I'll put that as your super chat real quick. Appreciate the kind sentiments there. Looks like we got another one where someone's actually asking us a question. My man Drake Berry, he says, "How has Larry Ogunjobi looked so far? I know he has just gotten cleared." Zim, did you want to take that one, or you want me to answer it?
Yeah, right. Larry Ogunjobi was out, came back, rave reviews. Joe Mixon even went out of his way to say, man, he's a monster. He had some really good reps against Michael Jordan. He had two good reps. Some of the drills, like one-on-one, he's just moving different. Like he's giving people. I'm not going to jump out there and say he's the new Geno, but just think of that role. And Larry Ogunjobi's been showing up and flashing when he was nursing an injury, came back this week, been killing it. And been getting big reviews from people. Reader looked really good earlier today too. That was another one. I think people forget about Reader though. Don't you feel like that?
Yeah, they forget about Reader.
Like he's the highest paid guy on the defense, but you don't really hear too much about Reader. And I don't know if it's just because he's not going to be sexy, flashy, getting a bunch of sacks.
Right.
But like he looked like a beast when I saw him earlier today.
The other guys that I've kind of forgot about as this is going on that defensive line that we're going to talk about. Cam Sample and Joseph Osai, the rookies. Cam Sample, I believe, initially started out, hurt at one point. They were waiting until it was safe for him to come back. He kind of flashed today. I think that he beat Jonah on the left side for a rush, and then Osai has been putting some things together. How do you feel about those two guys coming in as rookies? Obviously, with us only having 17 sacks last season.
They've got to do something, it's the thing I've been saying all season is like, if you don't go get that veteran edge guy to like a guy that's been there before killing it, you just got to go, okay, let the young boys play. It's getting so late in the game. I'm starting to there is one cut down that's coming up but it was so many guys for them to be had that I just don't see them doing it. And I think that you're going to see, Sample and Osai, like absolute, like, think about Osai as far as like Carl Lawson's first healthy year. Like the expectation should be there. Like he should be playing pretty much every third down. He should be looking at 300 snaps or something plus year one, like Osai. And then Sample, I've been saying it all along too. Think of him as like the Wallace Gilberry mode where anybody goes down. Think of almost like your swing tackle, like on offensive line where we just talking about Fred Johnson. Anybody miss a beat, like that's gonna be the guy he's gonna have to kick inside sometimes. He's gonna have to play out of position sometimes. He's just gonna be a guy that they're gonna call on if they get into a position like they did last year. So those are two guys that they're gonna be heavy relying on. I think part of me is just maybe it's fear or something. I was just like, man, we need one more edge guy, and I can see them maybe still doing it, but it appears as of right now they're really leaning on them. They're looking good in camp, and so that's really promising, along with our boy Khaled Kareem.
Nah, that's facts. I'm with you. I think Osai, I really think that he has a ton of potential and will really fit into that role where they wanted Dunlap. I always bring this up where when he was dropping into coverage, I think that Osai will fit really well in that area because he can rush and then he can cover as a former linebacker. He gives absolute effort. So like you said, when it comes to Cam Sample, I think he's a guy that they can use on the inside in that Wallace Gilberry mode, use him inside, outside. And I'm excited to see what they can do there as far as that. Got another super chat here from my man DJ Mister. He asked, appreciate that, bro. Do you guys think Jessie Bates extension gets done before the season, or do you think we will franchise tag him? So I'll give me and Zim actually talked about this before the show. My thoughts are I don't think after what we heard today that, and this is just me personally, I don't think that the extension is going to get done before this season starts. Originally, I thought it was out until we heard the report that possibly came from his agent that the two sides weren't even close and that they didn't foresee an extension getting done at the beginning of the season. Do I think that they will franchise tag him? I think that they will have no choice but to franchise tag him. But I just hope that they haven't, hurt any feelings because this is a guy that they've kind of displayed and said we've got tweets and things of that nature saying, number one safety is kind of a mixed message if he's asking for top safety money. And that was the key to me today. He said top safeties. He didn't say top safety. He said top safeties.
Right.
And that is, to not offer him something in the top five, I feel like does not give and send the right message to a guy like that who was second team all pro, really has showed and been a lot of dividends and paid his dues on this team. I mean, this is a guy that was in the same draft class as Derwin James, and you could argue at this point, since Derwin James has not been healthy for multiple seasons, he's almost in a sense outplayed him and been more consistent and has done that at a lower rate. He wasn't a guy that you paid in the first round. So I'm just hoping that there aren't any hurt feelings on both sides, but I don't think that the extension is going to get done before the season. I do think they'll franchise him. Zen, what are your thoughts on the Jessie Bates situation going on right now?
Now, just to be clear on this, they don't have to do anything to him this year as far as a franchise tag. When people are talking about franchise tagging, they're talking about next year.
Facts.
So, like this year, what has he said? They make like $2 or $3 million or something like that.
Yeah, probably something small like that. I have to look up the actual numbers. So
third year,
continue. I'll take a look and see.
Yeah, like third year, third season. He could play the whole entire year and it wouldn't mean anything. The following year is where they're now saying they can franchise him. And I was telling Ace this too. It's like on one end, the Bengals never want to be the highest paid of any position. And I kind of feel them when you talk about like edge, corner, unique scenario, Joe Burrow, you're gonna have to pay him whatever the heck, you know what I'm saying? But those are the big money positions where we're talking like now we're talking astronomical numbers like 20 plus a year and up, right?
Right.
Safety is one of the positions though that isn't in the high tier, like market where I thought that they would say if not top one, top three, top two, it's just time. And if you look at the list of the guys coming up, it just makes sense to do it now. The franchise tag will be $13 million right now. Next year, I don't know what that would look like.
Facts.
He's probably looking for around 16 to 17 million. So from a base salary, it's not big enough to cause friction, like that. So
all right. I think we're waiting for Zim to get back. I think he's having some technical issues, but I did look up what Jessie Bates' salary is for this year. His cap hit is $2.8 million. So obviously, I think that it's going to be a situation where you got to pay the man. A lot of people are in here saying that. I have to agree with it. I mean, for me, Jessie Bates is one of the best Bengals players that they've drafted in a while. This guy was an all-pro. I can't name the last time the Bengals had an all-pro. I almost want to say it may have been possibly Vontaze Burfict or something like that. So, this guy's paid his dues. I just hope that they make sure that he is paid. But as Zim said, they don't have to pay him this season. Now, looking at the top safeties in the league, Justin Simmons is making $15 million a year. Eddie Jackson is making $14.6 million, and this is on their average salary. Tyrann Mathieu, that's another one. Just got Zim back in. So Zim, I was telling them it looks like his salary for this season is going to be $2.8 million.
Right, which is disrespectful as hell.
Right.
But it is what it is. Like just to walk the fans through this too. For every bad situation like this, where you say, how in the hell could somebody like Jessie Bates get 2 point whatever million? I could show you hundreds of guys that got paid on their first 4 years or whatever, coming out of college that didn't deserve it. So this is the other side of it of what happens is generally going into this year, guys just get the deal done. So just for me to finalize my thought is that they're not that far off. Even if we're talking franchise tag, clearly the Bengals still want them. Clearly the Bengals still use them in a lot of advertisement campaigns. They just did a special on them not too long ago on their website. It's not like they don't want them. I just think that the money has something to do with the agent. It probably has to do something with guaranteed money. And Jessie Bates is, like you alluded to, is saying top safeties, not the number one. And so with that being said, I guess they just don't like that number. But for me, maybe they're waiting for Jamal Adams' deal to get done. Maybe not. But Bengals do have leverage in this regard. He could play this whole entire season. He's got to get through the season healthy, right? We know Jessie Bates isn't going to be like some holdout type guy. He comes out of that season, they might do the same thing that they just did to AJ Green, which happens very often, and the reason why the franchise tag was created. He still would be paid probably top 5. I had to go look at salaries right now, but the franchise tag will probably put him in top 5. The cap's going to raise, so the franchise tag will be higher next year. It would put him top 5, but the guaranteed money, like long term, wouldn't be there. So in a hypothetical situation, this is why players don't like the tag. You could get hurt that season and enter into free agent the following year and be at the bottom of the barrel. So that's why players want to get the deal done. That's why the Bengals want to do right by their players and get it done. But I guess the guaranteed money is like, it's got to be the conflict because it can't be the base salary, not at the safety position. I just can't see that being an issue. Not if you just pay Sam Hubbard.
Right. You just pay Sam Hubbard $10 million a year average salary. Right. For those that are watching with us on YouTube, we appreciate it. Please be sure to subscribe to B and Zim's YouTube channel. Mine is New Stripe City, his and Zim Hude. We're also live through the Cincy Jungle Facebook page, so please be sure to leave us a like there. And then if you want to hear this in the audio form, definitely be sure to check out the Cincy Jungle podcast on all platforms. We got the OBI, we got Matt Minnick, so please be sure to check those out. Got another super chat here from my man Kevin Jones. So if you're listening at home and you want to ask your questions live, you can do that via super chat. So Kevin Jones, he says, any chance of getting Alden Smith? Now, remember Zim's list. I think Alden Smith was on that list, Zim.
He just got cut though. Why they cut him?
Yeah, we need to know why.
I saw that yesterday that he got cut, so I'm like, I don't know what that's looking like. But for that type of player, that's exactly what I'm saying. A guy that's been there, done it before. I gotta think it has to be something with. It can't be the body type because he wouldn't have came in there and they wouldn't have signed him on a field physical, right? So like him moving forward, it has to be something attitude wise or something that they don't like. Lou Anarumo, New York background type of guy, kind of talks that talk. I think it would work for me. I don't know what the situation was, but he's the exact type of guy I'm saying. He might not get the snaps that he's looking for, like here with the emergence of Osai, Sample, and Khaled Kareem. But that backup edge type of guy, that is very much needed and somebody proven.
Right. Got another tweet from my man Zim Hude from Russ ENC. He says, whole lot of orange. There's a whole lot of orange from my man Russ.
Ask me a question though. You can't let me reward you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Whole lot of orange. If you don't know,
check it out. You see Zim, if you're watching on YouTube right now, or if you're listening at home, ZimHude.com, the most fire merch. He just dropped the black joints. He got the white ones, the black ones. It's a whole lot of orange. If you're into the MIGOS tees that you guys see in the background, newstripecity.com. Please be sure to check both of those out. But let's get into the meat of the potatoes, bro.
Oh, they said Alden Smith got arrested again. That's why. Yeah.
Nah, it's a no-go for us. It's a no-go. They on that character now.
Right.
Let's talk about
that's a no-go for me. That boy had plenty of chances.
Let's talk about the trending topic, the biggest overreaction of the week, in my opinion. Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase struggling and then clearly like reversing that narrative. So I just want to get your opinion because everybody been waiting to hear what you got to say about this. What was just your response and take to it? Yeah.
Why do you think that? Why? Because I'm the captain of the team. Chase,
you the Burrow baby leader. You the team Chase. I know we all want to know what you was thinking.
Really? All right. Well, thanks, guys. I think Ace just want to hear what Ace is trying to get me hyped up, y'all. No, but seriously, like me and Ace, we talk a lot off camera. I think it helps us with our cohesion, maybe, because we don't really have a script, as we tell you. We just go in. But I think let's start with Ja'Marr Chase. Coming out of college, yeah, he can get the deep ball. Yeah, he can make plays downfield. Yeah, he can run routes at a pro level in a pro style offense, which he proved in college. Does he have the skill set of a Tyreek Hill coming out of college? No. Does he have the skill set or the long ball of, I say Rashard Bateman maybe might mirror him like as far as long ball, even though Rashard Bateman's hurt right now. Sorry about that, Ravens. But but what I'm saying is that one of the things that made me love Ja'Marr Chase so much and love his tape so much is because he does so much really, really well. He got a lot of comparisons to Steve Smith because as you saw Steve Smith, like early in his career and later in his career, you could throw him a bubble screen, yards after the catch, lower body strength. Those are the things that are going to make Ja'Marr Chase like pop. I think in a lot of practices, they show him catching bubble screens and little option routes and different things like that. Those are the things that as Bengals fans that he's going to be a little bit different than a prototypical big time wide receiver, like a AJ Green level type. That AJ Green off the break, Mike Williams, remember coming out of college, like T Higgins, it's like, big play, whatever. Ja'Marr Chase has an amazing skill set where his athleticism takes over and his yards after the catch, I think might be, I would need to see the over or under for that because I just think he's a tough guy to bring down. And from that in space with this trio and Auden Tate, it's just hard to double up. So he's going to have a lot of opportunities to the ball in space and he's going to make plays happen. He never was a big separation guy. Is the point that I was trying to get. It's like he's not the greatest route runner. He said Tyler Boyd's teaching me different things on how to work on my burst, how to do different things in and out of breaks. And there's different things that I pointed to you. I think we were doing a show where I was saying like there's some things that I could tell at the top of this route. He made it easy for Awuzie early in the camp. Right. So those are the things that he's got to work on. The more and more he gets comfortable, like T Higgins, didn't start balling until like week 3. He didn't even play week 1, I don't think. Right. But some guys make that jump really quick. Some guys takes them a little bit of time. The one thing that I remember about Amari Cooper, and everybody's like crowning them as the number 1 wide receiver trio or whatever, is Amari Cooper. A lot of his camp stuff reminds me of Ja'Marr Chase. To this day, Amari Cooper leads the league, and he's at the top behind Deontay Johnson in drops. And Amari Cooper in camp early on was thought to be a bust. People probably don't remember because it's it's like 7 years later, but he's one of them guys that he kind of has that body type, doesn't have this extreme over the top type of thing. And he wasn't an amazing route runner coming out. Those are the things that you're kind of projecting. But early on, I think Ja'Marr Chase's game is athleticism. I want to hear your thoughts on why you think maybe Ja'Marr Chase got kind of scrutinized like that, because I do see some stuff where he does separate, but it's not at an elite level of separation early on. That's not his game. And then after that, I wanted to ask you, what did you think about Joe Burrow like moving forward? Because he had some demons that I feel like he got rid of, and he was very, 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 very aggressive in the way he said he got.
I think for Ja'Marr Chase, I think there was a little bit of an overreaction because, we talked about it all last year. The wide receivers couldn't separate and they weren't getting separation and stuff like that. And I think that, they try to take that narrative and just say that, with just Ja'Marr Chase, we're going to get that separation now. And as you've always pointed out, Zim, like one of the things that Ja'Marr Chase is amazing at is contested catches, right? You can't have a contested catch with having a whole bunch of separation. And I think that he is a player that has proven that he can get separation in different instances, but it's not something that is every play. And I think that that's mostly because he's a complete receiver, right? You can use Chase in so many different ways that, he can catch a screen and maybe his separation is going to be throwing that small corner off of him because he's not big enough to handle him. And so I think that was really being something that was kind of overblown. And you also have to think about the fact he hasn't played since 2019. He's learning a pro offense. He's getting more established with Joe. It's a new and different speed. We hear about this all the time from different players that are rookies. What is the first thing that you had to get used to? I think back to Tyler Boyd. He said the speed. What was the first thing that you had to get used to that was a difference between college and the NFL? T. Higgins, the speed. So he's got to be able to get used to that. So give him the time to do that, right? Like, so, yeah, he might be draped in coverage because he might not know what route he's supposed to run, or he might not know what to expect from the corner. He's got to be able to read that and implement some of the new stuff that he's learning. And I think once he gets that mentally, once the light comes on, he will be perfectly just fine. So I think it was just an overreaction to Ja'Marr Chase. And I don't think that, if that was the case, he's not third on the depth chart. He's starting, day one. We're not seeing Auden Tate is killing it at camp, but you still see that Ja'Marr Chase is number 1. So they clearly believe in Chase. And with the Joe Burrow thing, I felt like that was kind of ridiculous too, because it was very early in camp. And this guy is coming off of, a major knee injury from last season. Obviously, he's got to get in a rhythm. Obviously, he's got to knock the rust off and get back in shape. And, I don't think that they really gave him the time to do that. We all knew that there was mental hurdles and stuff like that, but we felt like, he's mentally strong enough. Yeah, he's going to go through that, but he'll eventually get over it. We're not expecting him to get over it from the very beginning of camp and to just be on point. I think back to when we were talking to TJ Houshmandzadeh, and right after Joe Burrow won the championship, he took 2 weeks off and he met with TJ and they were throwing. And TJ was like, man, I don't know if he's looking like, the number one pick in the draft. Right. And then after a few practices, he was like, a ball didn't hit the ground. And I think that's what we saw with Joe Burrow. He came out and said what was on his mind, and then it was straight fire after that. I think him just admitting it to the media kind of lit a torch up under him to kind of get everything going. And like he said on NFL Network, that's not happening anymore. We torching the defense now. So it's going to be a whole lot of orange. It's going to be a whole lot of Burrow babies and a whole lot of points getting put on the scoreboard. And, let's stop it with the clickbait false narratives, because that's all it is I feel like it's for clicks, and we'll see what he's really made of when he steps out there on the field. And I'm for sure that him and Joe Burrow will be plenty of ready once that day comes.
I agree. I mean, I think early on, I think it was kind of crazy, though, that, all those reports came out, right? And then don't you feel like immediately Ja'Marr and
both of them,
they both came out, and then we see NFL Network comes out there to camp. I think I posted it where Joe Burrow's like the first person, like he's like, yeah. James Jones asked him, he said, hey, the defense been getting at you guys a little bit, and Joe Burrow said, yeah, that was early on. Ask him about like right now or something like that, right? I don't want to misquote him, but he's like, yeah, but ask him what's going on right now. And I was just like, man, like, y'all ever talk to somebody that's not a Bengals fan about Joe Burrow? Like they don't get it, bro. They don't get it. And it's like the craziest thing. Like even me doing the thing, I kind of had to humble myself when we were talking to PFF and stuff. Right. I play around. I'm like, yeah, a whole lot of orange and stuff, but they don't get it. Like it's a fire and it's a tenacity and it's a charisma that Joe Burrow has. And I think it was so great. And these are learning lessons too. He's telling you like, hey, look, I'm not perfect. I came in. Yeah, it was some mental stuff I had to get past. The pocket was looking muddy to me. Like I didn't know what was going on. Right. I'm human. But I came back out there and I lit them boys up. And now I got my mojo back. And then like I said, Ja'Marr came out and he was killing them. And all the guys around him, even Auden Tate said, man, listen, like dude been picking up the offense, doing really good. I saw somebody in the comments say like maybe he won't start or something like that. Like, listen, he has to. Like that's not even a question. Like he's gonna go crazy. Like that. I could see. I think I predicted this. Maybe he didn't have a crazy game, but I predict the touchdown from Ja'Marr Chase week 1 just on the strength of breaking a tackle and just going to the house. Like I could just see that it might be 60, 70 yards for the whole entire game, 4 catches or something. But he might just break that one, and he's going to put the whole league on notice. And what it's going to do is set up T for like these one-on-one things. It's going to set up like so much stuff. I think I was doing film like a year or two ago. It was 2 years ago. And I was just showing people like the alignment of Pittsburgh when they play us. It was like everything shaded to AJ Green, no speed on the other side. Like it was ridiculous. And he still was getting off. He was still coming out, like 90 yards, 100 yards. But, like now teams just can't do that. And I just think that Ja'Marr Chase is going to reap the benefits of it. And Joe's going to have some times where he's going to be down and up throughout the year. And I encourage you to let people know, like, this is not a sprint. As much as I say, I'm going to go 100 miles per hour and I come on here and I talk all like this is, I go like that every day. But sometimes you got to put things into perspective. He is going to go up against some really good defenses. He might have some really, really bad games that we'd be like, damn, he looked rough. I mean, that's how all these guys are. Russell Wilson, look at Tom Brady before they even went on their Super Bowl run last year. He looked really bad. People were talking about benching him. People were talking about Tom Brady, like the system isn't right for him. All these different things. Catches fire, get into a rhythm.
Next thing you know, he got 40 touchdowns at the end of the season. They were dogging Tom Brady. They were dogging him.
That was the one thing I was telling Ace. I said, man, this year I'm gonna be hype. You know, it's a whole lot of orange, but I gotta kind of like bring it down sometimes. And these gut reactions, I understand. Like Cincinnati natives is like, it's like when something goes bad, it's really, really bad. But I just think long terms, he's just gonna go crazy, and it's just like, just stay the course. We're gonna be all right. The key is just to keep him healthy.
Facts. We got another super chat from my man. Appreciate y'all with the super chats today. Drake Berry. How have Chris Evans, Trey Hill, and Deontay Smith looked? And do you see Tyler Shelvin being a big body that won't get after the quarterback, but will clog the holes? I'm gonna say we've seen that our man Chris Evans has looked really good, especially catching the ball and then pass protection. Trey Hill, I think right now is just kind of getting some snaps as a backup or as a reserve because Trey Hopkins isn't full go. So I'm sure we'll see a lot of him in Saturday's matchup. And Dante Smith has been killing it from what we've heard, apparently from what the coaching staff has said. So it seems that he's in a great place. And Tyler Shelvin, me personally, after I did the cut the tape on him, I think he is a nose tackle that can really clog holes, but I think he's got a gear that he can get to if he gets the right coaching where he can make plays in the backfield.
My favorite group on this team, contrary to belief, well, my favorite group is the MIGOS. All right, I'm gonna keep it 100. But my second group is the defensive line, like Reader, you know what I'm saying? Ogunjobi, Shelvin, Mike Daniels, that rotation right there. There's not too many NFL teams that could say that. Like they really can't. If them dudes stay healthy too, like I really, really like it. But to go into what he's saying, Trey Hill, because he is a recent draft pick, you got to think they'll figure out a way to get him on a practice squad or something like that. Or like Ace says, like he might show out, do really, really well and battle. He'll be battling up against Billy Price. Deontay Smith has looked really good. He's done everything that they asked him to do from camp perspective. The one good thing about him coming out of college, there was only about 4 guys. Dylan Radins was one of them. Leatherwood was one. Deontay Hill met the 71-inch reach thing that everybody was like really, really caught up on from a tackle position. The one thing about him, the reason why he went lower is one, he went to ECU, which is, you know, isn't playing the top SEC competition, right? But the other thing is that his body, he was very, very lean. But according to everybody inside the building, he's done everything that they asked him to do, put on the right amount of weight. And right now you're seeing him flourish and flash at camp and do. I've had people, just security, tell me that, man, what a nice guy. So like he's had an impact on a lot of different people there. And so Deontay Smith is a guy that's going to do really, really well. And he's supposed to be on our show any day now. Just want to put that out there if you're listening, sir. Come on here, Orange is New Black.
We got another super chat that I wanted to put up on the screen. The comments going crazy right now, so we appreciate y'all. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We truly appreciate that. It's from my man John Wick. He says, "What up, Ace and Zim? Whole lot of orange.
Yes, sir.
Why are the Browns fans delusional? Also, Burrow coming for the division this year." I'm gonna let you answer that, bro. I've been dealing with Browns fans all day. They've been in my mentions all day. Cause I'm gonna tell you what I said, right? So we did the season predictions over there in terms of this. Now, I said that the Bengals are gonna finish third in the division. I got us going 8-1, right? I got the Steelers going 6-11. I really think that they haven't put enough in place to transition from Ben. They're not a Super Bowl contender. So what are they doing? They have a bad offensive line. That's neither here nor there. They have a hard schedule too, right? People think that we just only watch the Bengals and we're just haters and stuff like that. I had the Browns going 10-7. And I had the Browns going 10-7 because I looked at their schedule and I really looked at the better quarterbacks in the better offenses, the Cardinals of the world, the Green Bay Packers. And I said that they would go 10-7 and they jumped on me because they were like, "Oh, we're going to sweep you." And I'm like,
10-7 is not good.
Do you consider them in the same mode of the Chiefs, Bills? Because I don't.
10-7 is not good.
They think it's not good. They were like, "Oh, we went 11-5 last year, so how are we going to go 10-7?" So
you remember that ether I gave you about their 11.
I played it, and they got upset. They didn't like it.
I mean, the facts are they got probably 9 guys, 9 brand new starters on the team.
Guys.
They were outscored.
They're better on defense, but they still like that clip said, they still have to get chemistry.
Right. And they out of every metric that is out there will say that it's probably the worst 11-5 team of all time, and that's not me picking on them at all. They just didn't outscore. Like if you look at their points against and points for, like they didn't even score more than their opponents. You know what I'm saying? But they credit to them. They ended up 11-5. They had a way better season than us. I think they have a way better not a way better, but they have a better roster ultimately than us. But they have a lot of interchangeable pieces. Me saying that they should go 10-7. I mean, shoot, that like one thing don't go right on their team. Like I just don't see it. Their skill positions are not where they need to be making a Super Bowl run. And the window is so small because then once you go to pay Baker Mayfield, it's like, what do you do then? You better hit on some draft picks. They didn't do anything to go crazy on what I thought was their biggest deficiency, the wide receiver room. Like OBJ coming off of an ACL is not the answer. Like not to like not
he still doesn't have any chemistry with Baker Mayfield. What is this? This is like the third offseason in a row that him and Baker Mayfield have not played with each other, you know, coming in. These are the losses that I have for them. The Chiefs, they're going to split with us. They're going to split with the Ravens, the Packers, the Cardinals. I don't know if I said the Chiefs already, the Chargers, and the Patriots. The Patriots, at first I had them at 11-6, but then they're going to Foxborough to play Bill. And I'm like, you know, I don't know. It's still Bill Belichick at the end of the day. I didn't think that was crazy. I had them beating like all of the other. I had them beating us. I had them sweeping the Steelers. So yeah, it's just kind of wild. They are wilding out this season.
I mean, shoot. The difference is to me is like, say we had a season like that this year, right? Say we go 11-5 or something crazy like that. I would be
out here saying we're gonna go 14-3 next year, like or 14-2. Like, nah.
I wouldn't be saying that, but I definitely be thinking Super Bowl. So maybe that's what they're feeling. Like it'd be hard for me to say 14. Any team win 14 games, and
that's just kind of wild.
Any team win 13, 14, 15, like anywhere near that to me are some of the greatest teams in football history for real. So like for you to be.
The other thing that I was gonna say is this. I don't want to take away from them, but they beat the Steelers, right? We beat the Steelers with Ryan Finley. They beat them in the first game, and then they get close to the Chiefs, but Pat Mahomes goes out. Like if Pat Mahomes stays in, they go up 27-10. That's not a close game.
Right.
So
and I don't want to be a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, but our two games against them. Like who were we talk about this a lot too. Like who was out there in the secondary the second time that we played them?
Nobody, and that's what they bring. I'm like, bro, we had nobody in our secondary.
Had we had our secondary or anybody,
we didn't have no Joe Mason.
Give me
we didn't have no
DJ
Reader.
Like give me any of them guys.
And y'all beat us on a last minute Hail Mary with inches through. Like so,
but I'm not gonna play the woulda, coulda, shoulda. They won. Right. They won the game. So but. Like let's just line it up this year. Well, there was a couple of questions that hold on. I saw a couple of questions. Appreciate you, Robert.
Ohio is back lit though. I will say
my man. Shout out to absolutely. Shout out to my man Greg Luther. Greg Luther just posted it. He's watching us live from his living room. So shout out to Greg Luther.
Shout out to Greg.
Dr. Mister, he gave a super chat earlier. I always see him. He is always like super supportive. So I had to give him a shout out too. There was a couple of questions that I think I missed, but
Robert Boyle, shout out to you, bro. We appreciate the support, man, for sure.
Did we have anything? I wanted to talk about Darius Phillips.
Offensive line. We got to talk about the offensive line.
All right, let's talk about the offensive line. So my name today is Zemno MJ Hude. A lot of people have been talking about the MJ playing, and they're saying that he's possibly going to be a starting right guard. This is not just them talking about a guy that I'm not blaming him for getting Joe Burrow hurt, but to say or ignore the fact that he had one of the worst seasons in guard history charted by Pro Football Focus. He had a 40 pass block grade. I think one of the things that I like about MJ is him in the run game, but he's super inconsistent in the pass game. And a guy coming off a torn ACL, a guy that just got 75% of the pressures on him were from number 60 right in front of him. Psychologically, I just don't even think that's a good idea for Joe Burrow. Him as a backup, sure. I feel like his body mold, everything about him fits the bill, but that's just not a mistake. I'm sorry, I don't want to rephrase that. That's not something that I want to happen again, where we're taking a chance on projecting someone to be better, and we're looking at current camp highlights of him getting abused or not having good reps, right? And then people are like, well, if he let the best man win. Some guys practice really well. I'll just leave it at that. Some guys practice really well. That was my thought for that. It looks like Spain has the left guard spot sold up.
Yeah, it looks like Spain has the left guard position sold up. You know, we're going to have to see what happens in this game and how it plays out, because you got Xavier Su'a-Filo there, who also isn't looking as good either. You got Jackson Carman, who hasn't taken a step, still has to get in shape. So hopefully we get some answers, and I think that they've said that a lot. You know, a lot of people are reading into camp, and I think that it's safe to say that Spain is safe, but a lot of these battles are really going to get hashed out with these games. They're going to have to see what they can do in games. Like Zim said, a lot of people might practice well, but when them lights come on and things happen, you'll have to see if they keep that same energy. So we'll have to see how it is. I think one thing that I remember is I think Mohamed Sanu was notoriously known for practicing horrible, but when he would get in the game, he would just turn up. And so I'm hoping with some of these guys that that's the case. It is scary, though, when we all saw Michael Jordan's name starting at right guard. I mean, you know, it was kind of scary, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
The same way a guy could get elevated or something, like at some, just like if you go to a job, like a guy has to get demoted or something like that. Like I could see him in an emergency situation, or I could see him as, you know, like a good backup for a lot of guys. Like I just think psychologically, it just doesn't. It's not good. Like Joe Burrow's human too. Like I don't think that he could give him all the ringing endorsements he wants. But I know Joe. I think like Joe. I ain't Joe, but I think like Joe. That's not a river I want the water to flow down again. How about that?
Right.
And somebody asked about Carmen. They said that the word is he isn't, from a conditioning standpoint, he isn't where they want him to be. Deontay Smith, as we alluded to earlier, is. And Deontay Smith is a guy that's bulked up, put on some more pounds, still has a long way to go, but he is a guy that's going to get some reps at guard. He's got the prototypical body for a right tackle, or possibly left tackle, if you know, whatever. But he has a prototypical body for a tackle. So that's what, you know, I think they're grooming him to be. But in the time being, here we go. Like, let's go to preseason. Let's see what he's got. That's something different to me. If the guy's playing really well and the lights aren't bright for him, and he turns up and he's the best man out of it, I feel like that's good. I just think that when the lights cut on, I'm not exaggerating and I'm not jumping the gun. I just know what I've seen thus far. I'm not at camp, but I've seen a whole lot of highlights and I've seen a whole lot of trench work. And he ain't been looking sweet. He ain't looking no better than what I remember him from last year.
You also wanted to touch on Darius Phillips as a kick returner or a punt returner.
Yeah. I've been on record as saying this. Darius Phillips is probably the best punt returner in the NFL. But because he got injured, I think it was that Bills game where he went crazy. Ever since then, they've needed him from a cornerback perspective. But what happens? The depth chart comes out, and Eli Apple is now, they got him as the fourth corner. So now they had Darius Phillips as the starting punt returner. So I want to see some fireworks from him in preseason. I'm hoping that's the number one thing I want to see is some punts go to him. Can he handle the football? Does he not bobble anything? Is it clean? If it comes out clean, I'm telling you now, that's going to be a weapon that we can use throughout the whole entire years. Even if they feel like Trent Taylor can give them more efficiency from returning punts, they still will bring Darius Phillips in as, you know, like that Pac-Man role and electrify the place up and get it going. So Darius Phillips is the guy that I'm looking at the hardest in preseason, because I know what he can do as a corner. I just worry about him holding up a whole entire year with his size. Like, bro, like me standing next to him, I might be bigger. I'm not sure. But from a punt return standpoint, They got him listed number 1 kick returner. They got him behind Brandon Wilson. So we might see him in that capacity as well. And if y'all haven't seen him or y'all don't remember him from 2 years ago, he's electric.
Another super chat here from my man DJ Mister. Appreciate that, bro. He says, even with all the weapons, do you guys think that we will run the ball more this year? And lastly, if we stay healthy enough, can we make the playoffs? So to answer your first question, I definitely think we're going to be able to run the ball a lot more with Frank Pollack. That's what everybody's sleeping on. You get a lot of people that had Joe Mixon in fantasy last year that are spurned and stuff like that. They're forgetting that he was the leading AFC rusher. Last time Frank Pollack was here, he could take his game to a whole nother level. So I completely think that the run game definitely will be a factor. You saw what Samaje Perine could do. He filled in admirably last year. That's why he got that contract extension. And then my man Chris Evans. And lastly, if we stay healthy enough, can we make the playoffs? I'm going to say and quote Zim, when you got number 9, there's always a chance. But I'm kind of like Zim said, this is a marathon. I'm waiting until we really had that playoff lane, which I really truly think is next season, but anything is possible. I mean, Carson Wentz just got hurt. If Baker Mayfield or Lord forbid any other, I would never wish that on it. Now I did make a laugh earlier, Bateman. That is not about Bateman. It's just joking. We don't want him to be injured or anything like that.
I want you out there, boy.
If you watching this, don't be mad at me.
Get on out here. I need him out there anyway. I don't need no excuses. That's the number one thing. I don't want none of y'all excuses. So we definitely want him out.
We want everybody healthy, but I think if we stay healthy, there's a chance. But I really see that chance being more so next season for us to take that step. There's another super chat
Rick Wagner. Rick Wagner must be wanting like a bag or a starting gig, or he's
Ryder hasn't signed either, right? He went and visited someone else and still didn't sign.
I was told when he came to Paul Brown, they were looking at that left knee, and when he left, the same way that they looked at Kerrigan,
right?
And it didn't look. They didn't see what they wanted to see. That's just what a little birdie told me.
They said that James said the offense is looking so good because they're not calling sacks down. Ben Baby pointed that out as well. I mean, we just going to have to see. It's practice. At the end of the day, it's practice. I remember a time where I think 3 or 4 seasons ago, they were like, the Bengals edge rush is looking amazing. And the whole time they was practicing against Cedric Ogbuehi. And when they got in real game situations, it wasn't the same. So I think we just got to see how they do in this game, especially with the Buccaneers. But then before we get out of here, are there any expectations for you from that Buck scrimmage that you want to see? Like, what are your expectations for it?
I don't want to see Joe Burrow play, which they said he wasn't. They said that Hopkins won't play. I think Reader's not going to play. They have a list that I had pulled up, but I got a little busy just now. But if you guys are in the chat, just go ahead and y'all can list the guys that aren't going to play. But my number one goal is to come out of the game healthy. Honestly, I'm one of the people that over the years I like going to preseason games. It's almost like going to a baseball game. I like the atmosphere. You get to talk to people. It's not as tense, but I'm not looking for much. I'm just looking at some of those roster battles. I want to see the tight end position. I want to see what are they looking at. Like, is Thaddeus Moss going to show that in a game? Is he going to, do what it takes to be like maybe the guy that we didn't think that he was? Like, I doubted him. But in camp, he's been looking spectacular. Can he do it under the bright lights? That's what we're going to look for. Also, I want to see this Cam Sample or Osai Flash, because I think coming out of that preseason game, it's going to tell him a lot. From an offensive line standpoint, I think all eyes are on that guard position that we talked about. So it is what it is. And it's just like, those guys got to battle it out. Also, Evan McPherson has been probably the camp MVP. I want them to purposely put him in a position to go from like 50-something. Like, just purposely just do it and just see what the kids got, because I believe in him. I'm not one of them people that's jumped out there and said, well, he's the next Justin Tucker, but he's got a hell of a leg on him. So let's see it.
Facts. Well, as you guys know, the good folks at Midwest Best Barbecue definitely hooked us up with some food and stuff like that. We've gotten your feedback that you guys have been down. So please be sure to check them out. 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Stop by there. Tell them that Ace and Zim sent you. Make sure you get some of those Grippo wings for sure. But thank you guys for supporting. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow Zim on Twitter at ZimHude. Follow me on Twitter at New Stripe City. Follow him on Instagram at Zim_Hude, and follow me at New Stripe City. And of course, we'll end it with a yes,
Sirski.
Hello, world. What separated your deep ball from everybody else?
My deep ball, it has a little secret sauce to it, man.
Never get too high, never get too low, but just keep moving.
The whole story is callers never beat me in any kind of sports in